Hello, good morning. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be setting up November, and it's very simple and minimalist as always. If you're brand new to bullet journaling, welcome to my channel. I am so happy to help you, and I hope you have a fantastic day also, just in general. This morning I had some coffee, and I'm still drinking coffee, so if I sound a little bit more hyper, that's why. I'm getting out my micron pens and a good eraser because this time I wasn't near my pen that has erasable ink in it, so I set everything up in pencil rather than in erasable ink so I could just erase it out. Anyway, we're going in with a micron 0.03 and I'm setting up my month. This is my welcome page. I don't do any kind of fancy drawings. For me, that's where sketchbooks come in, but I like to keep things really simple in my bullet journal, as you'll hear me say throughout this video. The way I use this page is I will highlight things with highlighters that I got from Walgreens and write below what happened that month if I need to write down anything. I just like it easy. Next, we're moving forward with the habit tracker. And what I've been doing lately, which is why I didn't post last week, I have been making some printables. And I want to make those for you so that way you can have printables in your notebooks that are really easy and simple. And if you want to dress them up, you can, of course. But if you just want the bare basics, they would be there for you. And I am going to be prototyping those for a little while until I can find fonts and themes that I really like, and then have those available for you. So for this one, I used a font that looks really great on the desktop and on the iPad, but it does not look very good when it's printed out. So I think in the future I am going to print out a little sample sheet of the fonts that I would like to use and then go through them that way. The habit tracker that you see here I have already filled out, but you will see in the future videos, if you want to look through a flip through of my whole bullet journal, that I did end up whiting these out and rewriting over them because I didn't like my habits alphabetized. I preferred them ordered in a way that was most efficient to do rather than what looked most aesthetically appealing. And then the page next to it, I end up taking away the brown piece of paper that I taped on. I decided it looked a little too busy for me to have the extra piece of paper there, so I just took it off and wrote out what my goals were for each of those habits. Because I think habits are super important, and it's even more important if you know what your goals are for reaching those habits or being able to do them. So that's why I like having a goals page right next to my habit tracker, so that way I know what is expected of myself on myself. But I did end up setting up this page off camera, but it's still worth seeing some of the things that I try just for the experience. Next, we're doing a walking tracker and a weight tracker. So I've been walking on the treadmill lately, and I would like to do so for the benefit of my health. It's really good to stay active. Diet is a lot more important than physical activity, but I would still like to be active. I don't like running, so I would rather walk. So this is just to track how long I've been walking and the calories I've burned, like how fast I was going, so miles per hour, how many miles I walked, and so on and so forth. I did it in the way of kind of like a tracker. I predated everything, but I didn't do that in the video. I did that off camera because it was a little bit monotonous, and also sometimes when I'm recording it's a little bit uncomfortable to be there for a very long time, so I would rather just set everything up and then do the smaller details off camera because then it's all done for me. But you'll see it all in the flip through. I like setting up months, and I like making these videos because everything looks really clean, but by the end of the month, because life happens and that's just kind of the person I am, it ends up looking a little bit messy, and you'll see me drawing little hearts around my mistakes because then they're happy accidents. I think it makes the page a little bit cuter. And also, it's a good reminder to not sweat the small stuff. A lot of people, when they're starting bullet journaling, will will throw their whole notebook away if they make one mistake, and that's really sad. And there's a lot of useful paper. It's easier to just make a little heart or white it out with some whiteout and just be like, well, that happens. It wouldn't really be mine if there weren't mistakes in it. That's at least what I like to say. So then after that page is the weight tracker, and I just do weigh-in days once a week, and there are 4 Sundays in November, so I tried to do 4 days, but I think I wanted to switch out my weigh-in days to Monday or Tuesday because there were 5 of those in that month, but I think I'm just gonna keep it to weigh-in days on Sundays and call it a good day. Call it a lot of good days. And I'm gonna try to have a growth mindset about walking and all of this stuff, including my habits, because it's unrealistic to expect that I am going to black out every single day on my habit tracker, or that I am going to walk every single day of the month. I would like to walk most of the days of the month, but if I don't walk every single day because I'm not feeling well or because I'm having health issues and I just don't want to walk that day, I'm not going to get down on myself, because this, at the end of the day, a bullet journal like this is a tool. It is not something that you are a slave to, and I don't want to feel like I'm a slave to it, and I hope you don't either. So I did do prototypes of these 2 pages, and they're both kind of ugly, but they're at least usable, which is really great. I would prefer to have something usable and not look very pretty versus something that looks really pretty and not be usable at all. So I have prototypes that I'm going to be referring back to make sure I have all of the columns labeled correctly, and then call it a day with these 2 pages. I am kind of looking forward to walking. I've been listening to audiobooks while I walk, and I've been doing some Bible reading while I walk. I'm still not completely done with The Fellowship of the Ring. That book has been taking me quite some time. I also like listening to audiobooks while I put away some laundry or try and do some chores. I am not the most productive when it comes to chores, so I also put chores on my habit tracker to make sure I'm actually getting some of them done, or at least see how much I'm getting done. And then I have a little note section on the walking tracker just to make a note for myself. This is what I was doing while I was walking. Like, for example, I tend to walk a little bit more or walk a little longer if I'm playing a video game on my Switch. So I like to make note of why I walked as long as I did. Sometimes I'll just write I'm tired, or I'm not feeling well, or something like that, or just unwell, or just keep it really simple, so that way I know, oh, I wasn't feeling good that day, or I just didn't want to walk that day. And it's just helpful to be accountable of what you want to do. And then the next page is my sleep tracker. I don't remember if I said it in a video on this channel, but I know I said it on TikTok. I am currently taking some medications that do affect my sleep. They're nothing serious. It's just supplements that help balance my hormones, and they make it so I wake up really, really early. Sometimes 4, sometimes 5 in the morning, which is kind of unnatural for me. But lately, the supplements have been settling down in my system, so it's been nicer to wake up at a reasonable hour rather than waking up at 4 in the morning. But still, it's really good to track how much I'm sleeping, so that way I know, oh, okay, the supplements are working. They're not making me wake up super early. This process was a little bit tedious, so I might speed it up, but I liked setting it up in a way that was a little bit odd. I feel like most people would approach setting this up in a way that is like 1 row at a time and going down the rows, or 1 line at a time, 1 column, or something like that. This page ended up taking the longest amount of time to set up. This video was originally going to be 18 minutes, and I sped this up, so now it's 13. So that took 5 minutes out, even though this video was already sped up a little bit. So in the future, I think I would want to do a printout of a sleeping tracker, because that would be so much easier to just print it out, stick it in, and not have to think about it anymore. I think that would be amazing. If I were to do that though, I would want to do two types. I would want to do an early bird tracker like you see here, and also a night owl, because I know there are definitely people out there that end up staying up super late and waking up super late as well. That's just how their bodies are working and how they like to spend their time in being productive. So I would want to set it up both ways for both types of people, because I'm definitely more of an early bird. I end up waking up at let's see, if I'm sleeping in, it's usually a 7 or 8 when I wake up, but on a typical day I'm waking up at 6 if my supplements aren't affecting my sleep. But yeah, usually I wake up at around 6 because that's when I have to get up and get ready for work. Next, I have a reading log, and if you saw my last video where I was setting up a reading bullet journal, I kind of already did this in there, but I found that if it's in a different notebook, I'm not going to use it. So I have the reading tracker or reading log here in the bullet journal again, because I'm actually going to use it and remember to read and track what I'm reading if it's in here. But I will still use my reading bullet journal to write reviews and have a place to log all the books that I've read, but I would rather just keep it really simple, and the less amount of other notebooks that I have to use, the better. But I don't mind having certain things separated. Like book reviews can definitely go in their own notebook. I wouldn't need to put book reviews in my bullet journal. I could do that if I really wanted to, but I don't know. It just seems cleaner to keep those things separated. But the reading log itself, I think, is fine to go in the monthly spreads. Finally, we're doing the ideal week. I really like this because it helps give me a point of reference for what I'm supposed to be doing on a certain day and the types of goals that I should have. It just helps me to break it down by days. And I also wanted to mention that I am not going to be setting up my weeks in this video. I'm just going to play it by ear and do 1 week, 1 day, whatever I need at a time. And I'm just going to keep it really organic and not pressure myself to fit into this type of confined spread every month or every week. Because some days I feel really overwhelmed by looking at a rolling weekly spread, and other days I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and conquer the day and do a great job with this rolling weekly spread. Some days I just want to take it 1 day at a time. Especially this past month, I've been feeling really overwhelmed with bullet journaling in general. So I'm like, okay, let's take a step back, make it even more simple, make it so I don't have to stress myself out so much, and just keep it easy. And I think keeping it easy for me in this case for this month would be to make the months, at least make the weeks a little bit looser, so that way I can do what I need to do rather than stressing out about, oh my gosh, this rolling weekly spread sucks because I'm not doing everything, and just stressing myself out about performing my bullet journal when I don't have to. I just have to use it. As long as it's useful, then that's great. And I gotta keep reminding myself that, and sometimes it's really hard. But that's all I've got for this month, November. I am going to do a reflection page as well at the end of the month. I didn't want to set it up here. I just thought it would be better to do it at the very end. Or I could set it up whenever I want to, actually, because it's a bullet journal. But anyway, these are these spreads. Like I said, I get rid of that brown piece of paper, but this is what it looks like. I really like it. It's nice and easy. It's easy to read. It's easy to handle. It's totally approachable. That's my pen, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!